You got Roy Schreffler here. Today's topic of discussion is Black Forest shield clocks. I'm going to go over a little bit about how I became interested in it and to give you a little history and show you the project that I started here on a recent Black Forest shield clock purchase. To date, I own two of them. One I got locally at a flea market, and the other one just came last week from eBay. So to start off, I just want to give you a little background. I've been doing genealogy, there I am, genealogy and history and family research since 2004, and I've tracked my immigrant ancestor, Johann Heinrich Schreffler, who emigrated to the United States, landed here September 1749, and I'm still in search of his homeland in Europe. I have suspicions he may have been located near to the Black Forest. When he landed here, he was a stocking weaver, and some of his family ended up staying in that trade, weaving stockings and coverlets through to the mid-19th century. It's a little bit cold out today, so I have a fire going, and some of my plants for the garden are getting started over here. But here's my inventory of books that I started collecting a year ago. I was focusing on Pennsylvania clocks, tall clocks, so I studied them. Here's some more titles there. I'm going to get to this little book in a second. Here's some of my coveted Black Forest clock books. Justin Miller is one, and I forget this other gentleman's name. And I'm going to get to this one in a second also. And this is going to be key, this one by Bert Old Books. He was purported to be the guy who was in the know with these Black Forest clocks. This is his first book. I acquired this, I forget, somewhere online. In fact, it's signed by Berthold himself. Unfortunately, Berthold passed away in 2016 at the age of 73. So he was a little bit, I would say, young at the time. And you can see the difference in his books, the thickness, this second one. But the topic here we're going to talk about are these shield clocks that you can see here on a lot of these. Anyhow, over here is the example I'm going to get to in a little bit. And before I do that, here's a layout of a curio cabinet I'm going to repurpose, and I'll get into the details of that. Here's a cardboard model I made so that I can make fabricating this curio cabinet a little bit easier. So this is a 1-to-1 scale, and I use it to do things inside the curio cabinet. But let's quickly run downstairs to my other workbench where I have the first clock that I bought, and it's I guess they call them lacquered shield clocks, painted, shield, if you will. This is roughly 12 3/4, almost 13 inches. This particular unit has been worked over the years. I think it came out of Ohio. There's some, we're missing a lot of the material. It's really thick. That is on the face. It's got iron hands. You can see it's delaminating, splitting. I think it's in line with what would be expected. I'm dating this circa 1830, and I'll tell you why in a second. Not terrible, but I'll get into the guts here in a second, and why I'm talking about this in particular. Here you have the back. I mean, everything here that I've done the research on is, period 1830-ish, give or take a few years. You can get an idea of the wood. You can see it was used and hung on the wall. Those are folks that know these things. Hopefully I'm not misspeaking. Forgive me if I do. Here you can see the lines that were used by the carpenter. I'm not certain of the type of wood on this particular one. They say beech was used quite a bit for some of these. You can also see here the carpenter's use of rounds, and over here you've got the bell strike, and I think it's a leather. Here this happened to use those loops to hold it. You're going to see that in a second on the other one. I'm trying to work the camera and work the clock at the same time, so forgive me. The insides of this, you can see the fly there. This is all going to be recognizable to folks that know these clocks. These happens to have the wooden arbors with the pins as pinions, and then brass gears, miscellaneous throughout. I'm fairly certain this clock would probably operate to some extent if I were to try to get it going. I don't have any intention of doing that, honestly. What I intend to do is possibly separate, get rid of these modern brackets and things, separate the shield from the insides, and figure out a way to display this in the curio cabinet once I described to you how I'm going to try to display the other unit that I have upstairs that you saw. Yes, it's quite dirty. You can see some of the details. I'm sure any of you folks watching this, if you have any interest, you already know what you're looking at. Here's where the Glendale, Ohio comes from. Somebody made this shelf to support it and added extra rig because, yeah, with the weights on this thing, it could get pretty heavy. So I just wanted to show you that I guess I know a little bit about these things. One thing I want to point out about this particular shield is it's got Roman numerals, and it's got these fleur-de-lis, which I see quite often as well. I'm going to differentiate that from the unit I have upstairs because the one upstairs has Arabic numerals, and I might touch on that a little bit. But in any event, this is what we're working with now. I did count the teeth on the escape wheel, and that's not the escape wheel. But there's 42 on this unit, and there's only 40 on the other one. Let's see. Maybe what that was the escape wheel. Yes, it would have had to been because of the teeth, the profile on the teeth. And we're looking in there. Oh yeah. Okay. Sorry. You'll see the. I can get my flashlight here now. You'll see the particular type of anchor escapement. It's been peened over, I say riveted, and it's got the telltale teeth, like a sawtooth, let's say. Again, there's 42 on this gear, and the one I have upstairs is only 40. That matters when it comes to, I think, the pendulum, size of the pendulum. You can see some wear in there on the teeth, but in general, not a bad unit. Again, I'll get into dating based on what I've read in Bert Old's book and all the other books that I have. And you can disagree with me or whatever. Put some comments in the comment field. But anyhow, the plan is to get parts of this as much as I can up into the curio display case. The chain is in decent shape, so I have full sets of chains for this and the other unit. So let's run upstairs quick, and then I'll continue the video to let you know what I have in mind with this other one, which is a really, really nice unit. Here we're going to see that it has, let's get some better lighting here. It's got some cracking like would be expected. Here's the Arabic numerals. Oh, crap. Sorry about that. You can see the shine on it, the reflection. It's got most of its parts Oh, now you're hearing the chimes from my grandmother clock in the other room. Yes, it's 9 o'clock a.m. Saturday. All right, so now we're going to try to get to the good parts on this clock. Sorry about the camera because I'm trying to do two things at once, which is photograph this and at the same time talk and get the lighting to be right. Here we'll see this has slightly different. You can see the marks from the woodworker in the wood. Let me try to prop that down. You can see the lines here and here and here. This is kind of nice because in the brass he's got these stamped in patterns. Now here you'll see those that are in the know, no more wooden arbors. These are metal arbors. So that's why I dated this around 1840. And I'll tell you why even more in a second, how I kind of came to that conclusion. Here's the bottom. For those that want to see the detail, we have a broken, I'm not sure how I'm going to deal with that, but this particular is you can see it fractured, which I think is typical actually. This is how the movement was held on to there's the access holes for the chains, how the movement was held on, or not, yeah, to the face, which again is typical with these undercuts in the wood. But yeah, now it's going to get interesting because here's a shot of the back piece of wood, and to my eyes it looks like it's bird's eye maple. I may be wrong, could be beech, but here we have the signature of the clockmaker. It happens to be, and I'll show you how I know this, Isidor, I-S-I-D-O-R, Dorer, D-O-R-E-R. That's what made this highly attractive to me in the first place. And I'll just tell you why in a second. Here we'll have another view of this side. I'm holding it. You can see the protuberance here of the shield. Here's the gear train. This particular specimen is really came to me quite clean. I think right out of the box this bad boy is going to fire right up and work. I don't have intentions of using it all the time as a clock. My intentions are to display it, and when I need to, I'll hang the weights and then maybe give her a go. But then I want to essentially just use it as a showpiece in the curio cabinet, which I'm going to talk about here in a second. Here's the carpenter's marks as well. Again, it's all very standard for these Black Forest clocks. Now, I'm going to come over here to my idea in this curio cabinet, and because I'm an engineer and a mechanic and I have a lot of tools and so forth, I purchased this curio cabinet on Craigslist because I had the idea to do this, and I think it's going to fit my needs. It's almost 6 feet tall, 72 inches, and inside I created this polycarbonate plexiglass support system. What my intent is to leave the side covers off this so that you can actually see the movement and everything working at a distance through the glass of the curio cabinet. So the idea is to take this shield and hang it. I've already engineered it and tried it. It does work. It kind of sits here. Here's the access holes to let the chain through. And the pendulum, I have clearance for the pendulum. On the back, I'm going to secure a mirror top to bottom so that you can see the signature of Isidor as well. So that's the idea with that. I do also have the parts for this, the chains I have the iron hands as well, and some miscellaneous parts which you'll recognize. So the idea is to make this a curio display cabinet. Inside I'm going to have the mirror. Of course, you'll see it down below. I think I might install a shelf down here to put the other parts of the other shield clock, and then I'm going to laminate verbiage on some sheets to describe what it is that's inside and so forth. Here's the weights I have for it. I think those are also period. And I've got the pendulum here as well. The pendulum, let's see, get that on camera. It's about 30 some inches. I think it's also quite standard. Here's the detail of the pendulum. I think it's cast. I might have put a magnet to it. I can't recall. The rod is threaded only up to about where my fingers are for critical adjustment, but I don't plan on using this to keep time or getting that anal about it. Here's the other end. So we're going to try that in due course. All right, back to the books. And Berthold wrote his 2 books in German. Schwarz Walduren, Black Forest Clocks. This gentleman, John Tyler, was a Brit, and he finished this book in the mid-70s, and it's all in English, and I really like the way this reads. This one, he did a really fantastic job. This is ex-library. But what's interesting was Berthold's book here is all again in German, copious amounts of photographs. But let's fast forward to a page here which shows the backside here of a clock signed by someone else, and that pattern exactly matches the one that I have that I bought. I just wanted to show you that. Now, one thing I do is use Google Translate when I look in these books, and it's fantastic. If you hold still, it gives you a translation of a lot of this stuff. I do have translating friends that also do that as well. See, here's the fleur-de-lis, almost part of it. This is an example in the book, the columns on the side. This one's got probably an 8-day, it would say it. Yeah, again, from Furtwangen, approximately 1835. But here's the piece of resistance. In Berthold's book, he's got an index of pretty much every clockmaker he knows. And sure enough, there we see Isidor Dorer's signature. Here he is illustrated, Isidor Dorer. He was born in 1800, and he died in 1868. So that's one of the reasons I put the clock that I have in my possession in the 1840 range, because of a lot of reasons. I know by 1850, things were pretty much died down in the Black Forest, and because my specimen has the metal arbors instead of the wood, my guess is 1840. He was the son of Benedict Dorer. Benedict was born in 1758. I've done the research on Benedict as well, but this signature matches almost 100% to the signature on the back of the clock that I have. And I've done a comparison, and it's fantastic. So what I want to do now is stop the video. It's gone on long enough, and I'll add to it. I got the curio cabinet finished, and I have the clock hanging and the mirror installed and all the other good stuff going on in there. I'm sure I forgot to say something, but anyhow, you can leave a comment, and we'll see what happens. Thanks, folks. Bye.